It's 4 p.m. We're bringing developing news.
And the stories behind the headlines. This is StoryCon. I'm Regina Lay.
I'm Ed Lingao. Some stories for watching this Wednesday, February 11. Chinese ambassador to the Philippines, Jing Quan, is pushing for faster talks on the code of conduct in the South China Sea. That's as the Philippines serves as ASEAN's chair this year. Jing says that reaching an agreement would help manage maritime differences and strengthen bilateral relations. The ambassador also said COC talks have lasted over a decade and should now produce results. Meantime, some senators said the Chinese embassy has no right to silence the Philippine Senate. They stressed that the resolution and statements on the West Philippine Sea are protected by the Constitution and by international law. They called on the Department of Foreign Affairs to address the issue diplomatically and urged China to show good faith by stopping harassment of Philippine vessels.
Vice President Sara Duterte's net satisfaction rating rose to positive 28 in November 2025 survey by the Social Weather Station, or SWS. That's up 6 points from positive 22 that she garnered in September. The same survey showed Senate President Vicente Tito Soto with a positive 16 rating, Speaker Boji D with positive 5, and Chief Justice Alexander Gizmundo with positive 9. The SWS poll was conducted among 1,200 adult respondents nationwide from November 24 to 30.
The third edition of the Trillion Peso March is slated on February 25, coinciding with the 40th anniversary of the EDSA People Power Revolt. Organizers say 86 Catholic dioceses nationwide are expected to join the event. Activities include a mass, a symposium, and a march leading to the EDSA Shrine.
Senator Lauren Legarda plans to file a resolution to investigate convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein's footprint in the Philippines. The measure will task the DOJ, NBI, and Senate Committee on Women to look into reports linking Epstein and his associates to local networks. Over the House of Representatives, the Makabayan Bloc has also filed a resolution seeking an investigation into the alleged Philippine-based operations and connections of Epstein. And the Philippines sank to its worst ever ranking in the 2025 Corruption Perceptions Index by Transparency International. The country fell 6 spots, ranking 120th out of 182 economies with a score of 32. This is our worst showing since the index began using the 0 to 100 scale back in 2012.
And joining us today from the Philippine Star, ang bossing na mga star,
Wow!
si Ami Pamintuan.
Bago yun ah.
Hi, everybody. Ano kaya yung star na yun? Hindi showbiz yun, ah.
You're a star. You're a star.
Ano, Ami, anong inyong malaking story, anong pang-headline ng Philippine Star?
Pare-pareho yung sinasabi natin. Nagtataka lang ako bakit 120 lang tayo, no?
Nagtataka. You expected it to be below 120. Worse than 120.
6 points lang yung binaba dyan, eh.
So 6 points from the previous year.
Oo.
When in
Siguro
fact,
mababa yung base, ano?
or
Dati nang mababa.
the world has gotten more corrupt.
Oh, it's
That-
all relative naman eh. It's ranking eh.
Oh, it's ranking. I mean, as massive as this corruption scandal is in the Philippines, other countries also had their own corruption problems. So baka
Pero
because of
sa
that,
Asia, ano tayo, ha? We are ahead only of Cambodia and Laos. Mas magaling na sa atin, pati Timor-Leste.
alam mo, Ami,
Vietnam, Indonesia.
that shouldn't come as a
Wala na.
surprise to anyone because sa tourism din, we're just ahead of Cambodia and
Yeah.
Laos.
Alam mo naman,
We have fallen
Malapit na rin
behind.
tayo.
ang Timor-Leste naman, ang
Saka
lilit ng
maunahan na tayo ng
Timor-Leste.
Cambodia.
Baka hindi ganun ka
Mas
ka felt yung kanilang corruption kasi
Kasi,
Jesus mo.
Hindi, ang
I thought you were
inaano.
gonna say something else. Kala ko related to the junta. But yes,
Punta ka agad tawag sa Timor-Leste, gabi ka.
the other way to look at it would be, hindi pa kasi tapos eh. I mean, the corruption scandal was exposed last year, but we, to this day, we don't know the extent of it. We can only guess that it could have reached trillions of pesos in losses. But up till now, wala pa kasing figure that's attached to it to say, okay, it's a trillion peso flood corruption
wala nang
scandal.
umuungkat. ICI is dead in the water.
Oo, parang hindi na gumagalaw. So that's my other theory as to why bakit 120 lang tayo. Because the researchers, the data scientists who did this could only guess, right? How big was this? Up until now, we don't know. We knew billions were lost, pero exactly how much, we don't know at this point because it's dead in the water, sabi mo.
Dead in the water.
It's
Also,
dead in the water.
people get what's the word for that? When you get so used to something, it becomes
Inured.
Inured.
You get
Inured.
inured.
Oh.
Sabay pa
Sanay
kami
na.
namin.
It's normal,
Diba?
no?
Kasi I
Normal business
remember
in the Philippines.
in 2012, we were all shocked with the pork barrel scandal of 10 billion.
Kaya nga, tingnan mo, kung sino nakulong dyan. Sige nga.
Pero yung 10 billion pala, wala lang pala yung 10 billion.
Trillion na trillion. Inflation,
drop
ikaw
in the
naman,
bucket.
tagal na yun.
Diba? So your
Inflation.
threshold for shock and dismay.
So you're saying, tumaas lalo yung threshold natin.
Hindi lang tayo. I mean, you can imagine how people all over the world are reacting to what,
Yeah.
for example, happening in the US.
Yeah. We know because of the investigative reports that President Trump's family, increased their wealth by billions since he came to power. But I don't think there's going to be any repercussions there.
Iba pa yun. I mean, you're talking about yung corruption by the numbers, pero yung just the way that people in power
Normalized na nga
talk.
sa atin kasi.
Diba? When you listen to, for example, Trump talk about things left and right and what he tweets and what he puts out there, your
All sense
your
of
shock levels are adjusting
Yeah.
all the time. So the same goes with corruption.
And nepotism is very much back, right? It's all out in the open. We see that from a lot of these appointments and people that didn't have a background in the job that they're holding now. Naging yung mga political appointees left and right. Yeah, so the world order has changed na nga, as they keep saying.
The standards are changing as
The
well.
standards have changed, the world order has changed.
What's acceptable is also changing. I mean, you remember when Duterte first took office and people were getting shocked left and right with the way he talks? Hindi na. After so many years, hindi na. And then you have Trump now. And after so many months, hindi na. Not a good thing.
Not a good thing.
Hoy, nabili na yung
Yes.
Rolls Royce.
Oo. So yun nga yung
Car.
can we flash the photo of that? Yung Rolls-Royce Cullinan 2023 edition by the Discayas has been bought for 29 million. Was it 29 million or 26 million? I think it was 26 million, no?
Yan ba yung-
29,
yan ba yung-
29.
Was it 29?
Ito ba yung
29,
payong na
ayan,
Philippine
ayan.
Rolls-Royce?
Yun.
Yes, ito yung may payong.
Philippine payong.
Yan.
Correct.
Yan yung may payong. I-display doon sa i-display sa Stone Kingdom sa Baguio.
Yes. So ang funny thing here is yung bidder, the winning bidder was under a corporation named Igorot Stone Kingdom.
Oo.
Yung
yan.
Instagram place dun sa Baguio, yan ba yun?
Yung sa Baguio.
Oo.
I-display
Yes,
ata
correct. The cultural theme park
Yes.
based in Baguio that has yung may yung walls.
I didn't know it was a
Made of
cultural
stone, the
theme park.
riprap walls.
I know it's-
That's what they branded it as,
I know it's a
cultural
theme
theme
park,
park.
but-
That's what they branded it as, cultural theme park.
Baka gagawin nila pwede sasakyan doon sa loob.
Oo.
One of the attractions.
At
Pag umulan,
29
pwede ka
million.
magpayong, yung payong na nandun sa gilid.
And then the buying price is actually steep markdown from its original auction price, which was 45 million pesos.
Uy, malaki ah.
Pangatlo na kasing auction to eh. The first and second auctions wala naman nagbid. And then
Malaki na binagsak ah.
malaking binagsak, of course. And
Kasi pag binili mo
they
yan,
wanted to
sino
get
naman
rid of it.
gagamit niyan dito? Considering all the publicity generated by Rolls-Royce.
Which is
no?
why it's interesting na whoever thought this was a good buy. I guess 29 million.
Sa
Di ko
Philippines
naman-
nga niya ilalagay daw.
Kung sumakay ka ng Rolls Royce dito, nobody will know that it's
It's the
a
Discayas
Discaya car. They'll just see Rolls Royce. Not unless you put a sticker there, previously owned by the Discayas.
Pero titignan mo yung Rolls-Royce. Sino ba ito naka-Rolls-Royce na to?
Oo. So, may ano pa rin, may hatak pa rin dapat yan. So, pero actually, kasi I'm just saying that kasi nangihinayang ko dahil bumagsak ang presyo eh. We could have earned more from it.
Wala nga gustong bumili kasi.
And then yung...
Too much shit and too high a price.
Uy, ayan o, may tayong bisita o. Yun o,
Oo nga.
yun o.
Oo nga, wanted ng lahat.
May
Wanted
dalawa
ka
akong
ng
ganyan.
lahat.
Gusto nyo
Wanted
dalhin
ka
ko
sa
dyan?
Senado, wanted ka sa embassy, wanted ka sa...
That's why he ran away. Di ba? Masyadong mainit this week.
Ronald, subukan natin. Daan ka ng Hong Kong.
Or
Oo nga.
Macau.
O Macau. Subukan lang natin. Wala ka naman sa listahan eh, na nilabas kahapon eh. Ng,
Oo, kalayaan
ng Chinese
lang yung mga
Embassy.
nasa listahan.
At least wala ka pa.
Talagang may galit ka sa akin, no?
Hindi. I-live mo. Facebook live mo. Tapos,
Testingin lang natin.
sabi ko sa iyo, Bok,
Yan
magbabaral yan.
Yung pinersona ng Grata sa Kalayaan Group, binigyan namin dati ni Walden Bello ng kanya ng mga school buildings. 10 years ago, more than 10 years ago. Pumunta kami dyan eh. Binigyan namin
Para
sila
sa Kalayaan.
ng na yan. Yung Kalayaan Group.
Anong klaseng school building yun? Maliit lang yun.
Mga paaralan nila doon. Wala silang school
Yung
buildings
yung maliit.
Akin na paggawa.
Kaya kilala ko sila eh. Kilala ko yung mga councilors at mayor.
Pwede ka pang idagdag dun sa listahan ng persona.
Pwede. It will be an honor.
Ay, teka, may tanong. Ronald, may tanong si Jan dito.
Hindi tanong, phone in comment.
Oh, yung jacket mo ba, hinira mo raw kay Saldi ko?
Yung payong.
Hindi, yung jacket mo, himbra mo na jacket. Yung suot
Yung
mo ngayon.
payong kay Diskaya yun.
Magkasama yata sila eh, no?
Yung suot mo na jacket,
Regalo ni
parang
Kwanto, regalo
kulay
ni
eh.
Christian Esguerra.
Okay, anyway, so yung Rolls-Royce Cullinan, yung buyer nun, this Igorot Stone Kingdom, by the way, has been, nagkaroon ng issues before with the safety and permitting issues. Pinasirado to at one point ni Baguio Mayor Benjamin Magalong. I think that was 2022. So it's interesting that they're now the owners of this but this infamous car na binili allegedly ni Sarah Diskaya because she likes the umbrella.
Magkano yung magkano yung original price niyan?
45 million. So, bagsak
tapos
presyo na.
Ayan, no?
Pero yung
It's a
actual na
steal.
brand new, magkano kaya siya ngayon?
Probably more than 50 M, I would think.
Oo.
Yeah. Kasi it would be $1 million, right? $1 is
Yeah.
59 na ngayon eh. More than 50 M.
Almost
for sure.
60.
Parang yung binigay ni Cheese doon sa kay Heart Evangelista na sing-sing.
Talaga sumunod pa eh.
Yung Paraiba.
Pero namamasyal na uli si Hart, ha? Back to the Paris Fashion Week.
Oo.
Balik.
Malaki uli yung kanyang kwan. Natigil siya for several months eh.
Mm-mm. Kasama niya yung mother na niya.
Oh,
Eh,
ito na.
Hindi ko alam kung ano.
Feeling yata niya hindi nakakasuhan si Cheese eh.
May sinabi dyan shipping Lacson, di ba? Sabi niya, for ano?
Investigation.
For further
For
investigation si Cheese, di
preliminary
ba?
investigation. For PI.
For further,
Technically,
PI
tama
pala,
naman
PI,
siya.
Preliminary investigation.
Technically, tama naman
Una,
siya.
recommendation for charges eh.
Hindi
Biglang
naman
may-
actually, ang process talaga naman dyan, talaga namang preliminary investigation yan pagdating sa either DOJ or ombudsman eh. Hindi naman porke pinadala doon ng Senado eh. Charge ka kagad
Charge na
in
yan.
court.
No. So technically tama siya, pero also historically, ang Blue Ribbon naman parati dati nag-recommend for charging.
Pero dapat yung wording nga ang binago, yung wording, di ba? Recommended for indictment. Yun ang report usually eh. Recommended these people for criminal indictment eh. Hindi naman niya sinasabing pailan yun na kagad ng kaso.
Pero malayo yun, Ami, dun sa kwan ha. backpedal yon kumpara dun sa
Oo
preliminary.
nga, softened nga, oo.
Hmm.
Parang kumbaga kung si Richard Gordon, sinabi yun na for preliminary investigation, sila Lau, di ba? Medyo magkakaroon ng protesta doon. Bakit kulang ba yung ebidensya niya? Di ba? Ganun ang magiging comment doon eh.
Mhm.
Oh. Kaya anyway, meron na naman sinabing bago eh.
Ano?
Sabi niya asa na ba yun?
Okay.
Yung revised will recommend daw the continued on Martin Romualdez will recommend the continued gathering of evidence daw.
Which was,
Kasi isa pa rin ini-issue
which
yan
was
sa
what they
kanya.
said to begin with. Diba,
Yeah.
yung investigation.
Kasi yun ang isang mga tinatanong ng mga bakit especially the minority, bakit yung mga kaalyado hindi na imbestigahan? Yan ang isang tanong doon.
So mukhang walang macha-charge o makukulong before the EDSA celebrations.
Mukhang wala.
So, anong gusto mong sabihin, Ronald?
Magagalit yung mga magsa-celebrate yan.
So, hindi
40th
na celebrate.
anniversary. Akala nila merong mga ilang big fish na makukulong eh.
Hindi pa makukulong yun kasi iimbestigahan pa yan,
Oo,
tapos
mag-PPA
aakyat
pa
pa
nga
sa
lang
korte,
eh.
tapos mag-arraignment pa yan bago mag-restaurant.
PI pa
Hindi,
lang po.
kung gustuin
Mag-PPA pa
kasi
lang.
nila, si Bong Revilla, kulong kaagad eh.
Nakakulong na.
Well, he's detained.
Hindi, kasi meron ng case yun na final.
Yun nga.
Case file yun eh.
Exactly.
Ayun na nga.
But I suppose people are wondering when may makukulong na incumbent.
Pag gusto,
Incumbent na
Kasi si-
hinihintay.
pag
Di ba
gusto,
dapat nung Pasko?
may paraan.
So,
Di ba dapat nung Pasko?
so what, nga, dapat nung
Pag
Christmas.
gusto, may
diba?
paraan.
So, what
Pag
are-
ayaw,
What are we saying? Wala nang pag-asa to?
baka palampasin nila muna. Baka palampasin muna nila yung impeachment.
Kailan,
nga
kailan yun? which
Yan,
level ng
medyo
impeachment?
mabilis siguro yung impeachment.
Oo.
Yun din ang kumakalat na na storya na pababayaan muna yung Senado during the impeachment.
Kahit kongreso eh.
Wait.
Dahil linya na isang dosena na dapat kakasuhan at saka
Oo nga.
ikulong eh.
Wait, are we
Nakita
talking
ko
about the
listahan
impeachment
eh.
complaint versus Sara Duterte? I suppose kasi yung kay BBM wala na eh. We're talking about the impeachment case versus Sara
Hindi, BP
Duterte.
Sara na. BP Sara.
So,
Kasi
patatapusin muna
magbibilangan kayo
yung...
sa Senado, di ba? In fact, pati si Win Gatchalian yung sinabi. Medyo mahirap-hirap ngayon kasi mas marami ngayong pro-Duterte senators na nanalo ng alyansa nung sa 2025 eh.
Mhm.
Kaya magbibilang ka ngayon kung sino bang pwedeng ma-flip. Sakasakali. Di ba?
Yeah, but yun nga, if you were to be malicious, if you were to be more
Kasi kahit
conspiratorial,
naman nakakulong yun, makakaboto pa rin yan eh.
ganun ba? I don't know. We've never tried
Hindi,
that.
kaya mahalaga yung boto kung may sword of Damocles eh.
Oh, yeah. Of course.
Diba?
Makakaboto
Sabi nga ni
sila.
Ed, if you're going to be malicious.
Kasi
Sino malicious eh?
malicious eh. So malicious.
Sino malicious?
Kausap natin si International Man of Malice, oh.
Ha? Kala ko may
Kasi si Laila
kinakang
de Lima
malicious.
nung nakakulong, she was still working as a senator.
Oh, wait
Kaya
lang.
pwede silang makaboto kung magkakaroon ng, ewan ko kung impeachment court if you have to be physically present.
But I don't remember if Laila was ever able to cast a vote while she was in jail.
Initially, she was, right?
But later on, kasi tagal
Later on,
I
hindi
think
na.
makakaano
kulungan eh.
kasi wala until final conviction yan eh. Kahit si Halusos noon until final conviction as a rapist, he was doing all the work as a
I remember initially she was
congressman.
able to on some bills.
Parang,
Tapos,
parang may resolution yung Senate para talagang hindi makaboto si Laila. Parang we have to go back. Pero parang gano'n yung nangyari. Parang hindi siya
I do
nakakaboto eh.
remember
Kahit
after a
nakakulong
certain
siya.
point, ano na eh.
Kahit walang final conviction.
at some point, she wasn't able to anymore. Pero
Nag-start
nung
yung
una,
tindahan eh.
kaya pa.
Binawalan na.
Oo. Which begs the
Pagpas ngayon ng
question.
resolution nga, kailangan.
Oo,
Pero
which-
there's no fixed law na stopping someone na nakakulong from participating.
No, I think it depends on the Senate na as a chamber. They have to
Oo nga.
decide on their own rules,
na nga.
right? Which brings us to, I mean, what's happening with Senator Bato?
Nagbabala si nagbabala si ombudsman na
Naka-standby
may
yung...
nakatambay na sa labas ng Senado.
Yeah, but
Di mo
he's
alam,
been
was he
missing
joking
for
or
3
not?
months. Malamang, I don't know if he was joking.
Hindi kasi,
though.
sabi ni Joby, si Remulla clarified he's not joking.
Yeah, I imagine he's not joking.
He's not joking. So, he's really saying that they're already ready and set to make
Once
an arrest?
the warrant comes out.
Hindi na once the warrant comes out eh. Nakabantay na sa...
Bakit may warrant na ba sila?
Yun nga eh.
Nobody has seen it to this
Kung nakabantay
day.
na sa Senado to pick him up, the moment he appears, I suppose what the implication there is that meron na siyang hawak.
Oh.
May diffusion order
we don't
yan.
know.
Kung meron silang warrant, hindi nila sasabihin sa Storycon.
Hindi siya sabihin yan.
Yeah.
Kayo kasi. Mina-expose niyo lahat eh.
Pero yun nga eh, yung sasabi nga niya na may nakaabang na para kung mapakita si Bato doon.
But we know he's not there, obviously. Matagal na siya, allegedly, according to Interior
just in case
Secretary
he-
Remulla, nasa Davao, di ba?
Just in case he figures to cast a vote.
Oo. But here is another question around the Senate rules, right? How long can he be in absentia for?
There's no
Diba?
rule there eh.
Kaya nga, they have to decide on this kasi mukhang
other
matagal-tagal pa
countries,
to.
I think in Australia,
Depende yan
kung wala
sa
ka ng 6
Senate.
months,
Depende
you're
yan
booted
sa
out eh.
Senate.
Oo nga. Depende yan sa Senate,
Kaya
sa
nga eh.
senator. Sila
So,
dapat
kasi hindi rin siya,
magdesisyon.
he also doesn't vote on the bills, if I understood correctly.
Yeah.
Of course, he skipped the entire budget process altogether, di ba? But at the same time,
Hindi ko alam kung ano eh. Pinapayagan ba yung remote participation?
Dati si, di ba, si Trillanes dati was allowed
Remote
remotely.
participation? Hindi ko alam kung pwede eh.
But
Kasi
Hindi,
in
depende sa
the
Senate.
case of Bato kasi, pag nagtatago ka, kahit remote baka kamat. Yun ang ano
matatrace ka
problema
eh.
nila, baka
Kasi
sila
you're using
matrace.
Wi-Fi. You're using data.
Lalo na ngayon.
Oo.
Kaya hindi siya makaano.
And I can imagine
Pero
that he will
kung
not
yan
want to take that risk.
Ami, depende rin sa disinformation eh. Halimbawa yung kay Digong, akala ni Digong wala siyang kwan eh. Akala ni Digong wala siyang red notice. Akala niya
Kaya
wala
umuwi.
siyang international warrant. Nung bumalik
Diffusion
siya,
order yun.
nung bumalik siya, nagulat siya. No? Nung gabi bago siya umuwi, dinidissuade siya para wag bumalik eh.
yes, we heard this.
3-4 days na ako dito sa Hong Kong, wala naman ako nakikitang
nga.
warrant.
Wala nga.
Oo nga.
Kaya medyo nakakuan siya, naging biktima siya ng disinformation.
We heard that then, na he didn't think it was real. Okay. At this point, let's try to get some updates from the House of Representatives. We've got News 5's Marian Enriquez this afternoon. Marian, ano balita dyan?
Yes, Reg, kahit pa nga binasura na ng Kamara yung impeachment laban kay Pangulong Bongbong Marcos, nanindigan itong makabayan block na may malakas na ebidensya at direktang sangkot daw yung Pangulo sa pagtanggap ng kickback sa flood control projects. Git nga ni ACT Teachers Party List Representative Antonio Tino, nakita raw niya mismo yung screenshots ng mga palitan ng mensahe o communication ni PBBM kay dating Yusek Adrian Bersami na tinawag niyang bagman ng Pangulo. Yung record ng communication mula umano December 2024 hanggang July 2025. May mga tugon pa nga raw umano yung Pangulo doon sa pagtanggap ng delivery ng 8 billion pesos na kickback umano. No? May detalyado pa nga raw na computation ng pinaggastosan ng mga ito, kabilang na nga yung gastos para umano sa nakaraang midterm elections. Ayon nga kay Antonio Tino, talaga naman daw, meron daw direktang sangkot dito yung Pangulo sa mga kickback at doon nga sa naging insertions pa rin. At sinasabi nga ni Tino, yung kanyang source, kinumpirma niya, nakita daw niya itong screenshots kay Batangas Representative Leandro Leviste. Kinumpirma rin ni Caloocan Representative Ege Erice na pinakita nga sa kanya ni Leviste yung kopya ng komunikasyon. Pero nang hingin natin, kanina nga yung kopya nito kay Tino, sabi niya, kay Leviste na lang daw ito hingin. So, actually kanina din, meron din nga social media post itong si Leviste at sinabi nga niya na kinumpirma na nga lang niya na tinatanong sa mga nagtatanong daw kung may ebidensya, i-refer na lang daw doon sa mga statements ni Tino. So, may truan din. At sinasabi nga niya doon sa huli pa niyang mensahe sa amin media, meron siya kasing sinabi doon na lalabas daw niya yung mga ebidensya sa kickbacks sa quote, tamang panahon. So, tinanong natin, kailan ba yung tamang panahon? Sagot ni Leviste, yung tamang panahon daw, darating kapag may alam na yung may mga alam tungkol sa mga maanumalyang DPWH projects at kung sino yung nakatanggap ng kickbacks ay handa nang magsalita. At mangyayari lang daw ito kung ramdam nila na susuportahan at poprotektahan sila ng taong bayan kapag ibahagi nila ang katotohanan. Kaya naman hinaman din ng Makabayan Block yung Ombudsman at yung Kongreso na imbestigahan nga itong umano'y mga ebidensya ng kickbacks at di nila dapat managot ang lahat ng sangkot mula sa baba hanggang tuktok. Yan muna ang latest. Dito sa kamera, balik sa inyo.
Man, how do you authenticate a screenshot or an alleged
Oo nga
screenshot?
eh.
Hindi, ginawa yan dati
Exactly, our
ni
question.
Bryce Hernandez eh. Siya mismo ang kumuha ng picture.
Mhm.
O siya mismo yung kumuha
Pero-
ng nag-screenshot, 'di ba? Siya mismo nagkumuha. Kaya siya mismo ang nag-testify na siya ang kumuha. Dito kasi parang sinabi ni Tino na sinabi
Sinabi
ni
ni
Lebiste
Lebiste
na may
na
nagsabi
hindi
ko
niya from
somebody else.
ilang patong eh. Ilang pasa. So yun ang
exactly.
problema. Kay Bryce Hernandez kasi
Exactly.
siya lang eh. Ako ang kumuha.
Exactly.
Ito yung sinabi. Kay Joel Villanueva yata yun. Ito yung screenshot.
Oh. I get what
Saka
Ronald
bakit
means
hindi
eh.
ilabas?
Kasi kung
Bakit hindi ilabas?
kung
Di ba?
ikaw yung
Kung
ano,
nagrereklamo ka,
Exactly,
bakit
our
nyo
question.
tinapan yung impeachment complaint? Hindi nyo man lang inimbestigahan. Eh di ilabas nyo yung ano, di ba, smoking gun.
Correct.
Hanggang ngayon nga kasi
You can
hindi
put
pa
it
rin
out
lalabas itong si Congressman Leviste. Kaya yun yung pinagtataka namin. Ano ba? Ano bang hinihintay natin?
Kaya
Magpa-Valentine's
nga.
Day na. Magsa-Chinese New Year na.
Ano kailangan ng
Hanggang ngayon
Valentine's
wala
Day?
pa rin
Kaya nga.
ebidensya.
But you were saying kanina, Ed,
Dalawa ka mo kayo nag-claim na may ganyan. Bakit
Yeah.
di nyo ilabas?
Ano kung totoo yan, ang naglabas niyan ay si Adrian Bersamin.
Oh.
Hindi naman pwedeng si BBM ang naglabas.
Oo nga.
So,
Dalawang tao lang yun eh.
Dalawang
Yeah.
tao
Yeah.
lang yan. So malamang si
but
Adrian Bersamin
you're
ang
looking at
naglabas.
several levels
ipatawag
eh.
nyo si
Bryce.
Adrian
wait.
Bersamin.
Okay, isa-isa lang.
You need
Okay,
to look
Ed.
at it at several levels. Number one, the guy who allegedly took the screenshot has to affirm and authenticate that it
Correct.
was a screenshot that he
Oh.
took
Yeah.
of his conversation. Number two, he has to be able, I suppose, to prove na that conversation is authentic and that he didn't just make it up. I mean, that he didn't just
Pwede mo
do
naman gawin
Photoshop.
yun, no?
Even if you claim that it is your screenshot of your own phone,
It still needs to be
Authenticate.
verified by data.
oh, like for
By the
example,
metadata.
Metadata or the provider. Pwede ba
Hindi
yun?
naman yata, you mean the cellular provider? I don't think they'll be
Yeah.
able to access it because
Okay.
that's covered, that's data privacy na eh. But there's ways to check it. In the same way that you can check a photo if it's legitimate, right? You can do a reverse image search. You can check the
bilis
metadata.
niyan.
So, in the same way that you can probably authenticate a screenshot, although I've never done it myself. Pero yun nga, there are ways to trace it.
Kasi otherwise, medyo madali mag-cut and paste.
Or ask
Yeah.
AI to generate one, di ba? Na screenshot.
Not to say that that's the case, pero yun nga, it's quite easy to do that. So yun nga, we would, of course, I suppose everybody would like to see the sourcing and the authentication by the source.
Okay. We'll let you go. Thank you so much for that update. That was News 5's House correspondent, Marian Enriquez.
Thank you, Marian.
Thank you, Marian.
Okay, now we're going to head over to the other chamber. We have with us mobile journalist Merimon Reyes there. Merimon, what's going on at the Senate?
Mute. Oh, okay na. Merimon.
Magandang hapon sa inyo, Bok, Ami, Regina. So far, ngayon na dito sa Senado, ongoing yung session, pero hindi na masyado na pag-uusapan pa yung tungkol doon sa pambabatikos again ng Chinese Embassy. To be specific ngayon naman tungkol doon sa Senate Resolution number 256 na sinasabi may mali siya raw and kinokondena rin naman nila ito. Pero kanina, nakapanayam din ng media itong si Committee on Foreign Relations Chair Senator Erwin Tulfo kung saan sinasabi niya na karapatan daw nila and legitimate na instrumento itong pag-i-issue ng kanilang resolution para makapag-express sila ng kanilang concern sa issues pertaining sa maritime rights ng Pilipinas. And ang gusto lang naman daw kasi nila mangyari bukod sa maayos na relasyon sa gobyerno ng China is maprotektahan yung karapatan ng mga mangingisda, yung freedom of navigation sa WPS. And ang sinasabi pa nga dito, dinepensahan again ni Senator Tulfo naman yung pagpanig ng Senado kay Philippine Coast Coast Guard spokesperson for the West Philippine Sea, Commodore J. Tariela, at sinasabi, pinoprotektahan naman daw ng saligang batas yung freedom of expression, yung pahayag ni Commodore Tariela. At kung meron daw pwede magsalita tungkol sa WPS, si Tariela raw yun kasi siya mismo ang nandoon, patrolling, defending the WPS, at siya raw mismo ang nakakaranas, nakikita kung ano nga ba yung nangyayari sa karagatan na yun. Bo.
Merimon, meron bang detalye tungkol doon sa meeting ni Secretary of Foreign Affairs Lazaro kay Erwin Tulfo? Dahil ang alam ko, pinagsabihan si Erwin Tulfo na huwag masyadong taasan ang boses laban sa Chinese Embassy. At mukhang this past few days ay hindi ganun ka positive ang tingin ng DFA sa mga ginawa ni Commodore Tariela. Kaya nag-appoint sila ng sarili nilang spokesperson na yun lang daw dapat ang magsasalita. Very clear yung message nila na hindi si Tariela ang dapat nagsasalita for the security sector, no? Meron bang detalye sa usapan ni Secretary Lazaro at Erwin Tulfo?
Ronald, ang nasabi naman dyan ni Senator Tulfo, yung next actions daw na gagawin dito in communicating or coordinating daw with the Chinese Embassy, ipapaubaya daw muna yan sa DFA. At ang so far, ang naibahagi lang sa atin is meron pa raw kasing code of conduct na binubuo, and ang nasabi raw ni Secretary Lazaro din daw, mukhang amenable naman ang gobyerno ng China tungkol dito. Kaya ang sinasabi ni Senator Tulfo, ipaubaya daw muna sa DFA. Basta ang importante din sa kanila, na ipahayag na raw nila yung stance ng Senate. Gusto lang nilang i-uphold yung maritime rights daw ng Pilipinas. Pero for the rest of it, ang sinasabi dito, bigyan daw muna rin ng chance yung code of conduct dahil isa lang naman daw ang kagustuhan ng lahat bukod sa upholding the maritime rights, yung maganda raw na relasyon sa mga karatig na bansa.
Anong significant dun sa code of conduct? Dahil mahigit 12 years na yan
20 years.
Meron bang signs ang China na sila ngayon ay seryoso sa code of conduct?
More than 20 years na, in fact.
Yan din yung kapag pupunta tayo sa mga forum sa defense, lagi na pag-uusapan yung code of conduct. Pero kasi ang nasabi lang ni Senator Tulfo kanina, ang na-update din sa kanya ni Secretary Lazaro, mukhang okay daw yung sa formulation ng code of conduct, mukhang amenable. Kaya he's hoping for the best muna doon sa code of conduct na mas magkakaroon na ng peaceful relations. Hindi lang naman ang Pilipinas at ang China, kundi yung iba pang mga karatig bansa na may kinalaman din dito. So ang sinasabi, yun nga, ginagawa rin daw siya with 4 countries, and dati raw ayaw tanggapin ng ang China, ang sa kanila raw kasi wala raw code of conduct, we will not respect the arbitral ruling, at least doon daw siguro, since code of conduct na ito, ginagawa ngayon ng 4 na bansa, mukhang according to Secretary Lazaro, amenable naman daw ang China. Yan yung sinabi ni Senator Tulfo kanina.
Kasi yun din ang latest statement from the embassy. Yun ang sabi din ng ambassador. Let's stop. Yan yung latest na statement sa ngayon. And
Pero
they are also pushing for a code of conduct. Dati ang gusto ng China, bilateral.
But
Ayaw nila yung mga multilateral negotiations na ganyan.
I have to point out though, for many years now, everyone always says they're willing to talk.
Yeah.
It's not there's no lack of willingness to talk on either part, on all of the parties involved. The problem is, pagdating sa table, negotiating table, there are some very big sticking points. For instance, whether or not the code of conduct will be legally binding, right? That's been a sticking point for as long as I can remember. And if that's something that they can get past, then maybe we have a shot at making the code of conduct a reality this year.
Pero
Kaya nga, pag-uusapan naman nila
yung
yan.
yung code of conduct na usapin bago pa yan ng UNCLOS decision
Oh.
Nung ba yung
Matagal
UNCLOS
na.
decision, dapat nga na-strengthen yung push para sa code of conduct Ang problema ay after nung UNCLOS, lalong nag-escalate yung pagtatayo ng artificial islands within our EEZ. Tapos nung kausap namin si Wang Yi during the APEC summit dito sa Pilipinas, sabi nila bottom line, we will never abandon our islands, our artificial islands.
Yep.
Yun yung main sticking point sa code of conduct. Parang nakapwesto na sila within our EEZ Nawala dati Nawala dati. So, ang bottom line nila,
Tinatanong din namin yan kaila doon sa mga sila Banlawi, Di ba magiging ano yan, we will effectively legitimize the status
The status quo.
na occupied nga ng China, yung mga artificial islands. Eh,
Kasi
pinag-uusapan
ano,
nga daw yan ngayon.
I can imagine the code of conduct will be prospective. What
Yeah.
will be allowed in the future? It will not be retroactive.
Kaya
It will
so,
not go
maano
into...
siya, kung ano yung nandun ngayon.
Oh, I don't think it's
Ano
going
na,
to go into
effectively
dapat umalis ka
recognized
dyan
sila.
sa kilalagyan mo ngayon.
Ha. Kaya nga mas amenable ang China siguro ngayon dahil dyan. Oh, yan na nga yung tinatanong ko kahapon, di ba?
Hindi, ang problema naman ng China, Ami, pag naggumawa ng Code of Conduct, ang sticking point dyan ay yung 9, 10, 11 dash line. No? Paano pag magkaroon ka ng Code of Conduct, ibig sabihin, hindi na binding yung 9, 10, 11 dash line.
Yes.
Yun naman ngayon ng China.
There is a dissonance when it comes to the facts that we're operating under. And yun nga, if every party agrees that it's going to be legally binding, who is going to be the final arbiter of the rules, right? Meron ding question na ganun. But okay, anyways, we'll leave that there unless meron ka pang updates, Marymon?
Well, so far, bukod dito kay Senator Erwin, sina SP Soto, sina Senator Risa Ontiveros, Senator Kiko Pangilinan, same pa rin yung standpoint nilang lahat, respect begets respect daw. So kung nais nga nila na magkaroon ng healthy discussion or discourse tungkol dito, ang nasabi ni Senator Risa, tigilan daw muna ng gobyerno ng China or to be specific ng kanilang mga vessel, yung panghaharas sa mga barko dito sa Pilipinas. So far, hanggang dun pa lang, tungkol naman doon sa debate na parang inimbita ni Senator Dante Marcoleta yung ilang mga luminaries, sila Justice Carpio. May nakausap lang din tayo na staff pero alam naman na daw ng senador yung pagtanggap ni na Justice Carpio tungkol dito pero we're yet to know kung mangyayari nga ba itong discussion or debate sa kanila.
On a different note,
we are
Marymon,
waiting.
ano nang nangyayari doon sa Blue Ribbon report? Paano naliwanag ni Senator Ping Lacson yung pag-soften nung draft report? No? Anong nangyari?
Well, yung committee report daw kasi so far, sa majority pa lang ito, yung mga nakakakita. So, within the majority nang galing yung suggestion na baka pwede i-soften daw yung ilang mga terms. Ang nasabi rin kasi ni Senator Tulfo, may mga reservations pa raw surrounding the report. Yung iba raw, strong wording, yung iba naman, weak wording. And ang pinatungkulan ni Senator Ping, yung tungkol doon sa recommended charges. Yung connotation daw kasi kapag ang nakalagay to be charged or charged, parang may kaso na raw o nasa korte na raw ito. Eh, hindi naman daw nila pwedeng i-recommend yun. DOJ o kaya ombudsman lang yun. So, instead na charged ang gagamitin nila, ang baka gamitin nila recommended to undergo further investigation, case build-up investigation, fact-finding investigation. Pero still, hindi naman daw nito na weaken yung pinaka-committee report. And it doesn't have anything to do daw with the minority, yung possible na hindi nila kagustuhan sa report. Wala rin daw kinalaman nito doon sa pagtangkang palitan yung liderato ni SP Soto. Hindi rin daw dito na bago yung pinaka-intent ng committee report. Na bago lang daw talaga yung pinaka-lengguaheng ginamit nila.
Sabi dyan ng bunso ko, yeah, right.
No, because deserve to be charged.
No, because the language
Di ba
tells you
pwede yun?
everything, di ba? I mean,
Ah.
if you weaken the language, where does that leave the report? But we will leave that there. Thank you so much for your updates. Mobile journalist Marymon Reyes reporting to us live from the Senate.
Thanks, Marymon.
I-point out ko lang, yes, the other day we were talking during Safe House about the number of spokespeople on the maritime affairs and the West Philippine Sea. I said then, tatlo, mali, may apat na pala. So,
Sino pa isa?
so we have,
Nandun yung taga-NSC.
well, of course, the most famous one is Philippine Coast Guard
Yeah.
spokesperson for the West Philippine Sea, si Commodore J. Tariela. There is the National
Si Malaya.
Maritime Council
Ayan.
spokesperson,
Maritime Council.
Alexander Lopez. Remember him?
Admiral.
Oo,
Admiral Lopez.
Admiral Lopez. He was appointed, I think, 2 years ago, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
The Philippine Navy spokesperson for the West Philippine Sea, Rear Admiral Roy Vincent Trinidad. Spokesperson
Hindi na
for-
siya. Pinalitan na siya.
pero he's still speaking on the WPS at the moment. And then finally, itong newly appointed DFA spokesperson for the West Philippine Sea, Rogelio Villanueva Jr. So, I don't know, too many.
Palagay ko yung DFA na ang masusunod.
You think? I mean,
Utos na yan from the top.
may ano din eh,
I think
may
utos yan from the
Pero
top.
May power dynamic
you'd
din
also
kasi dyan
still
eh.
want to have good cop, bad cop routines eh. I mean, the DFA can only say so much eh. Because it's the DFA.
Ed, a bad cop, good cop routine is a based on a strategy eh. Mukhang dito wala namang strategy
Okay,
eh.
there you go.
Yeah, yun na nga eh.
But even if you don't strategize, you
Medyo
still would want to have somebody na makikipagbardagulan, somebody na tagahimas.
If that is the real strategy behind all of this, right? If that is, hindi ko alam if there really is a strategy, but I just wanted to point out that we have a lot of spokespeople talking about this one issue. But anyway, from the Senate, let's now head on over to Malacanang. We have mobile journalist Julie Baiza with us, reporting live on the ground. Julie, what's happening over there?
Yes po, usaping China rin ang napag-usapan sa press briefing kanina. Firm at diplomatic daw ang posisyon ni Pangulong Bongbong Marcos sa gitna nga ng palitan ng maaanghang na salita o word war ng mga opisyal ng Chinese Embassy at ng ilang senador. Nirerespeto rin daw ng Pangulo yung kalayaan sa pamamahayag ng mga senador at maging ng Chinese Embassy. Kaugnay nga po yan nung sinabi ng Chinese Ambassador na yung ipinasang resolusyon ng Senado ay nagsusulong lang nung sarili nilang interes. Hindi na rin daw saklaw ng Pilipinas yung naging desisyon at polisiya ng China doon naman sa pagbabawal na makapasok sa mainland China yung mga opisyal ng kalayaan. Gaya rin ng hindi rin daw saklaw ng China kung anong magiging hakbang or ginagawa ng administrasyon tungkol naman sa usapin. Sa ibang issue naman po, tinawag ng palasyo na panibagong kasinungalingan yung mga sinabi ni Vice President Sara Duterte na kung sino raw yung nakikitang senador na tumutulong sa kanya hinaharas ng administrasyon. Sabi ni Castro, ilang beses na raw na nagpakalat ng fake news si VP Sara. Gaya raw po nung pinahayag niya na pangit yung kalidad nung ibinebentang 20 pesos na bigas na programa ng administrasyon. May fake videos din daw at saka mga altered police blotter na inilabas noon yung kampo ng mga Duterte. Laban naman daw po kay First Lady Liza Araneta Marcos. Yung mga ganyang statement, ang sabi ni Castro, just tell it to the Marines. Bukod naman po kay VP Sara, bumuelta rin si Castro kay dating presidential spokesperson Harry Roque. Kung maalala po natin, kumalat yung picture at saka yung tanong ni Roque na kung may colostomy bag ba si PBBM at na-diagnose daw po ng colon cancer di umano matapos ngang magkaroon ng diverticulitis. Sagot ni Castro, fake news peddler din daw po si Roque at hindi na rin din dapat paniwalaan. Nanawagan din ng palasyo sa publiko na wag na daw ipakalat yung mga impormasyon na malinaw naman daw pong walang katotohanan.
Yeah. Pero Julie, did Claire Castro address what was in that, or what appeared to be in that photo? Was that photo Photoshop or was he just wearing a belt bag?
Ang sinabi lang ni Yusek Claire, that same day naman, yung doon sa larawan na yun, Bok-Ed, meron naman daw picture na nagtataas ng kamay si Pangulong Marcos. May mga video naman daw kumakaway sa publiko at nakikita naman na walang anything doon sa kanyang barong. Kanina din po yun yung sinabi ko na na observation ko kasi I was there nung nagkaroon ng ambush interview that day doon sa larawan na yun. And wala naman din po akong nakitang any bag doon sa may lower part, abdomen ng Pangulo.
So was the photo manipulated? Kasi the photo at least appeared to show something there.
May
Hindi po,
nakaumbok lang
wala
na
pong,
konti.
may nakaumbok. Pero wala pong sinabi ang palasyo, walang explanation si Yusek Claire kung ano siya, kung belt ba siya or kung ano yung nakaumbok doon sa kanang bahagi.
O nag-unli rice nung tanghalian.
Nasabik po sa rice kasi kung maalala niyo, sinabi nga nag-soft diet.
Ed?
Kasi masyado namang maliit yung for colostomy.
Ganun ba? Ano?
Actually, he's lost
Maliit lang
weight.
yan. Nakita ko yung photo masyado maliit.
Opo, at saka yung barong na suot din po niya puti naman po kumbaga parang maaaninaw mo naman kung ano yung nasa
Makikita
loob.
mo. Sabi ng ibang doktor, baka daw merong diagnostic something dito, pinapala ng plaster. Kasi masyado maliit.
Parami lang kain, Ami.
Oh,
Parami lang kain ng
rice nga.
humba.
Nakakaba na siya. Kasi kayo,
Humba.
criticize ng health niya. Ayan tuloy, mag-junket dun sa New York.
Hindi nga I
Para lang
mean,
ipakita na kaya niya mag-travel.
paano naging unli rice? I think he's lost weight nga Hindi ba? He looks skinnier, a little bit skinnier now.
Medyo umaano na siya. Bumabalik uli yung niya. Hindi daw siya makakain O yan, nag-ano na. Hindi na siya kasimpayat nung yung Nung hindi pa siya lumalabas.
Pumayat
Medyo
pa.
mas mataba na po yung neck niya na very
nag-ano na
visible na pumayat.
Yeah, if you notice, if you
magta-travel
notice
na.
his
Kayo
barongs
kasi,
are
magta-travel,
pretty
mag-speech na
thin.
kung ano. Naghanap ng dahilan para mag-abroad, para makita nyo na malakas pa siya.
Oh, pero makikita naman po ulit namin siya bukas at nakita naman namin siya last week.
Oh.
Okay.
Ayan, hindi na siya ganun ka. Talaga haggard na haggard siya nung ano.
Yeah.
Nung naka-confine, nung nandun lang siya sa Malacanang.
Okay, we'll leave that there. Thank you so much for your update. That was mobile journalist Julie Baiza reporting to us live from Malacanang.
Thank you, Julie.
You are watching StoryCon on One News. We just need to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Please stay with us.
You've got developing news in the stories behind the headlines. Welcome back to StoryCon, the Story Conference. I'm Ed Lingao.
And I'm Regina Lay. Still with us, Amy Pamintun of the Philippine Star and friend
Okay. Sabihin mo na.
friend to all, enemy to none, Ronald Llamas. I don't know.
Sinungaling ka.
Wanted,
Binabasa ko lang yung
wanted by
prompt.
everybody.
That was almost a compliment.
No.
Almost.
Oy,
Natawa siya nung binasa eh.
I read it pero it was on my prompter.
Ngayon mo pa sinabi yan. Ngayon gusto na siyang iban ng ng China.
That wasn't my words, ha, Ronald? Don't mistake it for a compliment.
I'm sure.
Okay, finally, let's talk about political dynasties now. Let's bring in our guest this afternoon. We're talking to Attorney Michael Yusinko, Senior Fellow at the Ateneo Policy Center. Welcome to StoryCon, Attorney. Thanks for joining us.
Good afternoon, sir.
Hi, attorney.
Magandang hapon sa inyo lahat at magandang hapon sa lahat ng mga nanonood at nakikinig.
Yes, sir. Sir, lapit ka ng konti, sir. Medyo malayo kayo sa mic.
Oo nga,
We can
medyo-
barely hear
medyo
you.
malayo
Yan,
siya.
yan. Tsaka ang laki ng,
Sorry. So, anyway,
ang laki ng
take
background
two.
ninyo kasi ano eh.
Magandang hapon sa inyo lahat.
Walang marinig.
Sir, lapit pa ng konti, sir. Lapit pa ng
Walang
konti.
marinig.
Konti pa.
Lapit pa ng konti. Oh,
Yan.
Yan.
Walang
That's
marinig.
better.
Oh.
That's better, sir.
Yan. Saka para malaki yung
Magandang-
mukha niya, makita kayo mabuti.
Oh, yes, sir.
Yan.
Oo nga, baka
Yan. Okay.
makita ko ng mga pinag-uutangan ko eh.
Hihina pa rin.
Baka daw siya singili ng mga
Hindi pa
pinagkakautangan
rin.
niya.
So, magandang hapon. Magandang hapon
Yan.
sa inyo lahat.
Yes, sir.
Oh,
Yes,
yan
sir.
na. Okay.
Anyway, sir, of course, we're here to talk to you about dynasties. The proposed, actually, so many proposed anti-dynasty bills. I counted, mga 21 ang nasa Kongreso. They run the gamut from second degree to fourth degree and so many jurisdictions or clusterings involved and all that. Is there such a thing as a workable, acceptable
Version of the bill.
version of the bill from your point of view?
That's going to at least solve some of these problems
Oh.
that dynasties have brought about.
Yeah, there should be, no? And ang thinking dapat natin is, because this is lawmaking, what is the problem that we're trying to solve? No? Doon tayo magsisimula. And that's where we'll get yung tinatawag na viable or acceptable legislation. So, based sa mga pag-aaral, hindi lang namin, but marami nang nakapag-aral nito, the problem really is yung sabay-sabay na magkakamag-anak na nakaluklok sa pwesto. No? So, ang perfect example is si Pangulong Marcos. No? Yung meron siyang kapatid na nasa Senado, meron siyang anak sa House, tapos meron pa siyang mga kamag-anak sa kanyang locality. Another example of the problem is si dating Speaker Romualdez na mag-asawa sila, tapos yung anak nila sabay-sabay silang nasa Kongreso. So
Saka
that's
si
another
Speaker Bonnie D.
manifestation of the problem. And of course, the last, yung isa pang obvious na problema, manifestation ng problema is yung mga magkakapatid sa Senado. Pero ang pinakamalapit na manifestation ng problema sa mga taong bayan is yung governor, kamag-anak yung vice governor, tapos kamag-anak din yung mayor sa isang city sa probinsya, at most likely kamag-anak din nila yung
Vice Mayor.
representante sa distrito nila. So that is another manifestation of the problem. So yun yung mga dapat simulan natin. Those are the problems or manifestations of the problem we want to solve with this legislation.
Sir, these are the so-called fat dynasties, no? Yung horizontal lang pag-i-spread.
That's correct. Yun yung parang technical term na na-invento ni Dean July Tihanki, yung fat and obese dynasty.
Pero the one that the speaker wants to push forth, we were talking about it earlier with si Garin. We were talking with Garin about
Janet
it earlier.
Garin.
Yeah, Janet Garin. Meron silang tinatawag na clustering. Ibig sabihin, sa
national,
local level, pwede kayong sabay-sabay basta
provincial,
magkakaiba kayong jurisdiction. For example, ibang munisipyo naman o ibang probinsya naman. So, meron silang tinatawag na clustering as a way of isolating the dynasties, I suppose. Is that a work?
So meaning,
Well,
hindi pwede yung governor and
yung-
vice governor, mayor and vice mayor.
Level
Parang
ba?
ganun lang.
Level.
Yeah, like I said, that's actually the problem that we're trying to solve, di ba? Yung magkakasabay sila sa isang geographical area, no? Like probinsya, tsaka yung distrito, lahat sila nandoon magkakamag-anak. So yung sinasabi nila na pwedeng payagan ba yung magkamag-anak pero ibang geographical area. So that is one, I think, hindi siya maka-capture nung prohibition kung ang tema natin ay susolusyonan natin yung problema.
Ang sabi sa amin ni Janet Garin, we have to be realistic about it dahil ang magpapasa niyan, Kongreso and Senate, both packed with dynasty. Sabi niya, if we want a bill na talagang mapapasa, we have to settle for incremental change. No, do you agree with that observation?
I don't agree completely with that observation or with that view kasi lawmakers should take the signal from the people, no? At halatang alam naman natin, obvious na kung pagbabasihan mo surveys, pagbabasihan mo yung mobilizations ng civil society, the people want a law enacted and the right law, hindi yung tinatawag na compromised law. No? So,
Pero
yung
sabi niya,
view na ganun-
pinagbabasihan niya, ang resulta daw ng mga eleksyon because they keep getting elected. Sabi niya, especially at the local level, congressional, mukha naman daw walang pushback against dynasties kasi in fact, that's why they're thriving. Yun yung takbo ng argumentong yun eh. Anong tingin mo doon?
baliktad baliktad yung argumento na kaya sila nananalo dahil binoboto sila, right? While that could be true, pero yung kabaliktaran nun, yung katotohanan nun based on figures is nananalo sila, naboboto sila kasi walang choice yung tao. Paano ang botante? Sino boboto ng botante kapag ang tumatakbo Dynasty A versus Dynasty B versus Dynasty C? Right? So, walang choice. Whereas in the 2025 elections, nakita natin kung may choice yung tao between a dynasty and a non-dynasty, ang iboboto niya non-dynasty. That is what we saw in the 2025 elections. So, kung ako sasagot kay Congresswoman Garin, sasabihin ko sa kanya, kaya ganun ang realidad natin is because masyado ng maraming fat dynasties at they are choking the electoral competition. Pero kung bigyan mo ng pagkakataon yung mga non-dynasty, boboto sila ng tao, boboto sila ng mga botante because voters know na hindi na talaga maganda ang sitwasyon natin na we are now dominated. Our politics and our governance is dominated or are dominated by dynastic politicians.
Last week, attorney, nagsalita ako doon sa National Assembly ng Caritas Philippines. Isa doon sa pari roon, yung executive director, ay nagsalita at sabi niya, nakausap niya si President Bongbong Marcos at sabi ni President Bongbong Marcos, kung itong version ni Speaker Bogie D ang lulusot na bill, na law on anti-dynasty, ay isusumpa sila ng mga Pilipino. Ibig sabihin, ayaw niya ng bill na nakapirma mismo yung kanyang anak at yung kanyang speaker. No? Kaya tingin ko, naghahanap sila ng viable compromise. Pero not yung bill na sinasabi ni Congresswoman Garin. No? Hindi yon. Mismo yung Malacanang, according dun sa mga bishops na nakipag-usap sa presidente, mismo daw yung presidente ay ayaw nun. So, yung
Yeah,
tanong na attorney, parang broad strokes, indicative. Ano yung tingin nyo yung pwedeng maging compromise? Third degree of consanguinity o SK version na second degree of consanguinity, yung BARM version ba? So, ano yung indications of a compromise?
For me kasi the way I would look at it is not through the lens of compromise. The way I would look at it is ano ba yung viable in terms of enforcement. No? So if you look at it, paano ba natin mai-enforce yung prohibition? Let's look at it that way first. So ang first point of enforcement usually will come at the point of filing the certificate of candidacy. Okay? So, kung gusto natin mag-prohibit, we have to look at the situation at that point, no? Na ang COMELEC ang nag-evaluate, ang COMELEC ang parang nasa frontline who will determine sino ba yung bawal na relasyon. So, in that regard, yung second degree relations is really the most viable because it's the easiest to determine. Right? Kung halimbawa, nasa harap ng isang COMELEC official, dalawang certificate of candidacy, doon pa lang sa mga detalye doon sa pangalan, sa kamag-anak, immediately magkakaroon na siya ng idea kung magkamag-anak to o hindi. And therefore, madidetermine na niya, bawal na to, hindi na to pwede, prohibited na to because it falls within the second degree of consanguinity or affinity. Whereas kung fourth degree or third degree, at that point of enforcement, ang hirap i-determine kung applicable na ba yung prohibition. Halimbawa, dalawang kandidato magka-apelido, pero there are no common relatives, pero pareho ang apelido nila. Right? So, mahihirapan ngayon ng COMELEC to determine, pasok ba to sa ban, sa fourth degree? So at that point, hindi pa niya madidetermine kung prohibited na ba to, hindi na ba niya tatanggapin yung certificate of candidacy na to. Now, you can just imagine kung ilang sitwasyon na gano'n ang mangyayari considering na napakarami na nating mga dynasties na tumatakbo every election. So, that's the way I would look at it na ano ba yung mas viable when it comes to the enforcement of the prohibition, thinking the first point of enforcement is yung pag-file ng certificate of candidacy.
That's a very pragmatic way of looking at it. So just to be very clear, second degree of consanguinity covers grandfather, grandmother, grandson, granddaughter, brother, and sister. Second degree of affinity covers father-in-law, mother-in-law, sister-in-law, and daughter-in-law. So you're saying that this is the best case scenario. Hanggang doon, kaya pa ng COMELEC to determine which certificates are viable.
Pasok pa yung mga first cousins.
So up to third degree of consanguinity.
First cousin, yeah.
First cousin.
First cousins is second degree. Pasok siya dun sa second degree of consanguinity or affinity.
First cousin is, I think, fourth degree, no? The child. Okay.
No, fourth
cousin.
degree is pang-apat na. So great grandparent or great grand
I see.
apo.
I think we just illustrated your point. Ang hirap i-trace. What I meant by first cousin once removed. So the child of my cousin, that's once removed. Yun yung fourth degree. Actually,
Yes,
and
yeah.
there are also critics who argue along these lines saying that if you go up to the fourth degree of consanguinity, for example, the casualties of that would be people like Vico Soto, right, who's related to Senate President Tito Soto. So here you have Vico Soto, who's seen as a reformist, young, promising politician. Magiging casualty din siya ng anti-political dynasty bill like this.
Yeah, and also if I may add, when we talk about yung relationship with within the fourth degree, karamihan naman ng mga dynasties natin are not that big, no? Ibig sabihin, hindi ganon, except siguro sa BARM. Sa BARM, we can see examples of dynasties na hanggang fifth degree pa ang
Yes.
sakop nila, no? So kadalasan ang mga dynasties natin, yung fat dynasties na nakikita natin, at least majority of them really are nakakumpol dun sa second degree, like Marcos, Duterte, sila D, Romualdez. So if we're with the mindset of solving the problem with this legislation, sa second degree pa lang, marami na tayong matatamaan na dynasties in power.
Is it more important to rein in the fat dynasties, yung sabay-sabay, or the thin dynasties which succession, which follows succession, wherein the family members inherit the positions?
Yung sabay-sabay, because that is the problem, no? Diyan na nagsimula yung contractors eh. Diyan na nagsimula yung pag-capture ng mga dynasties sa budget process natin eh. Kasi nagkakaroon na ng conspiracy, di ba, na merong congressman, ang kamag-anak niya yung mayor, meron silang kamag-anak sa Senado. So dito nagdidikit-dikit na dito. So it's really the fat dynasty that's the problem, no? So yung sunod-sunod, yan, actually, I'm medyo on the fence ako doon kasi yung sunod-sunod, meron akong pangamba doon kasi kung pabawalan natin yung sunod-sunod, aside from yung sabay-sabay, ang mangyayari nun kasi, you're going to parang bracket a certain part of our society, no? Tapos sasabihin mo, at a given election, hindi kayo pwedeng tumakbo lahat. So my fear is that could violate the Equal Protection Clause kasi you are creating a special category for them that is detrimental to them, no? Dahil hindi sila makakatakbo at a specific election pero ang ibang tao pwedeng tumakbo. So that to me requires further discussion from other constitutional law scholars. Kasi that can potentially violate the Equal Protection
I think that's also
Clause
what
kung pagbabawalan natin yung sunod-sunod.
Pero, sir, on the other hand kasi, you also have the problem of some jurisdictions having been ruled by one family for so many generations and they've never moved forward. I mean, ang dami sa Pilipinas na ganun eh.
Yun yung problema sa mga probinsya na may governor, tapos pag step down, papamana sa asawa.
Asawa o anak.
Very vehement yung simbahan at saka civil society dyan sa succession.
Yeah.
Dahil kanyan eh, parang naging yung buong probinsya, naging kingdom. Lalo na kung ipapamana.
Tapos after so many generations,
Yeah.
hindi umuusad ang probinsya o yung syudad o yung munisipyo. Parang
Umuusad yung pamilya.
Yeah, parang it remains
Nagiging
Kaya
second.
parang yung patuwan, di ba?
Naging kanyan,
Your
iconic.
clan controls entire Maguindanao. Ang hirap-hirap, yung clan ang yaman-yaman. Di ba?
Naging iconic yan dun sa pagiging dynasty. Yung yung ipinapamana yung posisyon.
Direct
Not na
succession.
yung governorship.
So,
Pero hindi ba yun ang
let
essence
me-
ng dynasty building? Direct succession.
Actually, that's the essence of the regular dynasty.
Dynasty
Yung
building.
sunod-sunod kayo.
Yeah, direct
Yung-
succession.
that's the ordinary definition of a dynasty, di ba?
Yeah.
Pinapamana mo yung... But ang dynasty kasi natin, na problema, is yung fat dynasty, yung sabay-sabay. That's the problem. Dynasty on
Pareho natin
steroids,
problema
sabi
kasi
nga.
actually.
Then
Fat and
yung
thin,
sunod-sunod kasi, actually that unravels something, no, about this effort to enact the anti-dynasty law. Kasi we cannot divorce it from the fact na kailangan din natin mag-produce ng mga leaders na papalit. Because the anti-dynasty law will create a vacuum, right? So, kailangan meron din tayong ready na ipapalit na hindi dynasty quality or hindi dynasty. So, that's actually one way of addressing yung problema ng sunod-sunod. Kasi once the electoral competition opens, right, kailangan meron tayong mga fini-field doon na champions of democracy integrity. So that yung mga botante, they will now have a choice, a real choice, a free choice, na iboboto na nila yung karapat-dapat, hindi lang dahil may pangalan. So, that's one way to answer yung critique na dapat kailangan din yung sunod-sunod. No? Kasi ito nga yung gusto natin mapigilan. Well, pwede natin pigilan yon in the democratic way. Now that yung electoral competition, kung napagbawal na yung sabay-sabay, dahil yun naman ng malaking problema, then meron na tayong puwang na mag-field ng mga karapat-dapat na kandidato na dapat kampante tayo na iboboto na ng tao kasi sila naman talaga yung karapat-dapat iboto.
Pero attorney, wala kang assurance dyan eh. Dahil because for generations na dinodominate ng dynasty yung isang probinsya, ay hindi ka nakakasigurado na merong mga magle-level up na mga alternative sa kanila. Pero kung yan chicken and egg yan eh. Di ba? Pag hindi mo pinagbawal yung dynasties, wala rin namang possibility na may sumulpot. No? Kaya mo sila tinatanggal para kahit papano, kahit hindi pa ganun kahanda, no, ay magsimulang mag-generate ng mga bago. Pero kung sasabihin mo na kailangan mo na mag-generate ng mga bago, hindi ganun kadali yun. Dahil generations yung ginamit para sila ay takutin, patayin, no, etc.
So, I'm not saying na kailangan sabay Kailangan sabay mangyari. Kasi look at it this way. Kung ipagbabawal mo rin yung sunod-sunod, there is also no assurance. Gaya na sinabi mo, wala ring assurance na may papalit sa kanila. Because there will be because of those years na nag-dominate yung dynasty. So, what's the resolution there, di ba? Ang resolution is, dapat tayo sa civil society, we should be looking at that possibility and start preparing now, no? Kasabay nung pag-enact ng law. Ang punto natin is, ang talagang dapat ipagbawal, non-negotiable, is yung sabay-sabay, because all of the evidence and the data show na itong sabay-sabay, sila yung nag-choke dun sa electoral competition. Right? So kung tanggalin mo na yon, ipagbawal mo na yung sabay-sabay, electoral competition will be freed up, and dapat handa na tayo na meron tayong maisasalang doon na champions natin. And hopefully hindi mo na kailangan na ipagbawal pa yung sunod-sunod because it's very fraught Yung sunod-sunod is fraught, no? So ayaw natin yun because it can make the regulation even more complicated.
So at the very
Pero sa ating local government system, halimbawa, yung governor, ang laki ng role niya, ang laki ng influence niya sa mga mayors. In a way, yung mga mayors, ang laki ng influence sa mga barangay captains. Diba? So, ganun kasi ka-hierarchical yung ating sistema Kaya yung iba, given a choice, magfo-focus sila dun sa probinsya, dun sa governorship, at yun ang ipapamana nila dun sa kanilang asawa. Dahil kahit pagpalagay mo na hindi nila kontrolado yung mga mayors, pero hindi nila kamag-anak yung mga mayors, pero the system of control ay very crucial yung governorship. Dahil sa ating sistema.
Yeah, that's true. But kung pinagbawal mo na kasi yung sabay-sabay, that means isang member lang sa pamilya ang pwedeng tumakbo at the local level.
Or
So,
a potential, maybe a potential.
Kumbaga, the concept of concentrating power on a single family is now overturned, no? Kasi kung halimbawa isa lang ang pwedeng tumakbo for governor, the rest of the positions hindi na niya kamag-anak. So electoral competition now, and even competition, democratic competition, is opened up. No, wala na yung parang cartelization ng local power sa isang pamilya lang. Tandaan natin, ang pinagbabawal natin is yung sabay-sabay. So isang miyembro lang ng pamilya ang pwedeng tumakbo. So kung halimbawa tumakbo ka sa governor, ikaw lang ang pwede, ikaw lang sa pamilya mo ang tatakbo. Right?
Yeah.
Kung manalo ka,
Or-
then
Oo.
you have no familial allies in the council, in the vice governor, in the mayor, kasi ikaw lang yung pwedeng tumakbo, at kung nanalo ka, ikaw lang yung nasa pwesto.
Or-
That's the idea of pinagbabawal natin yung sabay-sabay. That's
Oo.
the scenario that we want to see. Kasi that solves the problem of yung sinasabi ni Ronald na nagkakaroon ng cartelization ng power
Yeah.
doon sa Kapitolyo, sa munisipyo,
Oo.
etc.
Or Professor, maybe a compromise would be you ban yung sabay-sabay outright, the fat dynasties, tapos yung succession, you put limits on it. So it doesn't become a generational thing where they hand down positions from across many generations, from the father to the son to the grandson and so on and so forth. May limits, may term limits lang yung succession. So in a way, parang it still breaks the elite, the political elite capture, right? Would that work?
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, except lang, sinasabi ko nga kanina, it's fraught, no? Because in my view, it can be susceptible to question na it violates the Equal Protection Clause, kasi ang mangyayari niyan, kung pinagbawal mo yung yung sunod-sunod, that's going to create a particular class. At sasabihin mo sa kanila, in one election, bawal kayong tumakbo dahil sinusundan niyo yung kamag-anak niyo. Now, that particular class now will be burdened, right? They will be burdened by that prohibition.
Yeah. So, sabagay,
Ang mangyayari niyan,
that's also
hindi yun applicable sa ibang pamilya.
Oo. That's
Right?
also
Sa ibang pamilya, hindi applicable yon. So, doon lang ako nangangamba na
Prof,
that can be susceptible
that's
to
that's
that
also
argument.
that's also what Congresswoman Janet Garin told us, which is that they were worried that some members of the lower house will question the constitutionality of these new provisions if pumasa nga. But nevertheless, based on what you have heard and read about how these bills are moving along in Congress, are you hopeful that we might finally see a version of this anti-political dynasty bill come to reality?
Not just what we're seeing in Congress, no, but more so with other factors, considering other factors like the fact that sinabi ni President Marcos that this is a priority bill, it's part of the LEDAC list. Also, yung sinabi ni Sir Ronald na mismong si Pangulong Marcos sinasabi na dapat ipasa, right, yung tamang bill. And of course, I think yung biggest factor is yung mobilization ng civil society, which now includes several local government units also saying na they want the enactment to happen, no? So if you consider that big picture, no, na marami ng confluence of support for the enactment of the law, parang tumataas yung kumpiyansa natin na hindi naman siguro ganun kamanhid ang mga mambabatas natin na ito na nga lahat ng nakikita nila, tapos magmamatigas pa sila na hindi ipapasa tong batas na to.
pahabol
Well,
lang.
in the last 40 years, they hadn't thought to see fit to pass it, right? So, nasa batas na nga, nasa constitution na nga, di ba?
In fairness sa kanila, wala pang ganitong confluence of events dati. Dati kasi meron mga silent supporters lang, like si President Aquino dati in 2015, siguro Sir Ronald can say, he was supportive of the passage of the bill, kaya lang naubusan na ng panahon. Even dating speaker, si Speaker Belmonte was actually championing the passage of the bill, kaya lang nakulangan na ng panahon. Pero ngayon kasi, perfect timing, may oras, may basbas ng Pangulo, tapos very strong ang civil society support, meron ng social media na halos lahat ng mga post support for the bill, for the passing of the bill.
Pero
So,
ngayon sila pinaka-entrenched eh. Pinakamalala actually yung situation ngayon.
Yeah. About 80%
Ah,
yata of
yeah.
lower
Well,
house.
Ngayon lang
Yeah.
tayo nakakita ng ganitong Senado na tatlo-tatlong set ng magkakapatid nandun. Ngayon lang tayo nakakita ng
numbers.
house na ganyan karaming
Yeah.
magkakamag-anak.
yeah, by numbers, tama yun. Ano? But I think, given the situation, siguro, maybe I'm just naive, no? But given what we're seeing in civil society, this is actually the most vulnerable position they have been, no? Na meron talagang active push for the enactment of the law. Kung hindi pa matuloy ngayon, I don't think talagang magbabago tong sistema natin. Kung hindi pa nila ma-enacto by June.
Sir Pablo lang, si JC Punong Bayan had an interesting question a few days ago. He was asking, do we already have a study that shows the causality between economic problems and dynasties? Parang we had some sort of discussion with this before with Don Mendoza.
Si Dean Mendoza published such a study a few years ago.
It was a chicken and egg question before eh. Hindi, ang sabi ni JC kasi it didn't really show causality, and I remember parang si Dean Mendoza also said the same thing na it's not necessarily causality, it was another word that he used eh.
Correlation.
Correlation.
Oo. Do dynasties create poverty or does poverty create dynasties?
So it's not a binary, it's both, no? It's both. Poverty creates dynasties and kumbaga it's parang symbiotic
They feed on each
equation.
other.
Right? We are at that point na symbiotic relationship na sila. So I think the question na meron bang causality between the dynasties and I think ang tanong ni Professor Punong Bayan is economic outcomes, no? Poor
Yeah.
economic outcomes. Now, meron yan. Kaya lang, it's not probably a direct straight line. Right? Kung ini-imagine mo na ito yung dynasty tapos may direct line na poor economic outcomes, I don't think it's going to be that way. No? Ang alam natin, dynasties facilitate corruption in government. That we know. There is evidence of that. There have been many studies proving that. Alam din natin, corruption in government produces or leads to poor economic outcomes. Marami na rin pag-aaral dyan at alam na ng mga economists yan. So, kung ipagsama mo yung dalawang pag-iisip na yon, doon mo masasabi that there is causation, di ba? Dynasties, next step, corruption, next step, poor economic outcomes.
And of course, let's not
Ayan,
forget they also...
medyo mahaba-haba yan dahil may interplay yan ng corruption, ng inequality, ng development, ng poverty, at saka concentration of political power.
Oo.
Na medyo mahabang diskusyon yan.
Oo nga eh. And to add on to what Attorney Yusinko was saying, and of course, let's not forget yung it weakens the institutions, right? If it's all controlled by family members. But we run out of time today, so we will leave that there. Thank you so much for talking to us, Attorney Michael Yusinko, Senior Fellow at the Ateneo Policy Center. Thank you. Thanks
sir.
so much,
Thank you,
sir.
Attorney.
Okay.
Salamat.
Salamat.
Okay, goodbye.
He's hopeful.
Yeah.
Finally, we'll see a anti-political dynasty bill passed.
Parang,
Are you?
The people in Congress are also hopeful,
Kaya-
pero what kind of bill will be passed?
Oo nga, that is the question. What
Diba?
version of the bill?
Baka may itsang ka ng buto, kala mo cake na. Para mali yata yun, no? Buto, akala mo
Tama.
bulalo na, di ba?
Bulalo na.
Fried chicken. Ano ka ba naman?
Okay.
Akala mo fried chicken.
Baka maaprubahan ba yan sa Senado?
Oo nga, exactly.
Oo nga. Sila
Three
yung
sets
ginagawa
of
Di ba
ng
siblings.
tatlo? May isa step, ano na,
Kasama na sila sa 3 sets.
Half siblings. Tatlo nga. 3 sets.
Tulfos, the hair,
Cayetano.
4 sets pala.
Four.
4
Kaya
sets.
talaga,
4 pala, 4.
4 sets if we include
Oo nga pala, no?
the step siblings.
Oh.
The half siblings.
Oo.
Oh.
Correct.
Oh, basically, a third of the
Eh,
the
practically
Senate is,
5.
dynastic.
Tatamaan din si Amy dyan.
Well, yeah. No, within the chamber,
parang
within
si
the
Amy
institution,
dyan.
within the institution.
Oo.
Di ba?
Okay.
Basically, a third of the Senate is dynastic.
We'll leave that there. Food for
40%.
thought. Food for thought for everyone. Thank you so much for joining StoryCon today. Ami Pamintun, Editor-in-Chief of the Philippine Star. Political heckler Ronald Llamas, who's on the run.
Wanted.
Who's not only wanted but
Daan
on
ka
the
ng
run.
Hong Kong book. Live mo sa Facebook.
Wanted.
Join us again tomorrow, 4 p.m. for StoryCon. I'm Regina Lay.
I'm Edwin Gao, kapatid, we are One News, all sides, all the time.
This is the Story Conference Group or the StoryCon Group.